everyone. I hope that Math 1351 is going well for you. I really do wish that we were in class together so that we could get to know one another. As you know, I'm always available to answer texts or ask my instructor questions, and I have met a student on Zoom as well. So the purpose of this video is to go over the graphing project that's due on July 3rd. So this project is one project, but it will be divided up into two parts. The first part is having to do with graphs and qualitative data, and the second part has to do with quantitative data. So starting next week, you're going to enter into chapter 10 of the Pearson book, and chapter 10 has to do with collecting data, analyzing data, displaying data. So basically all about graphs. So the first thing that you are going to do for part one is you are going to come up with a survey question. So your survey question will have 4 different answer choices, and you will record the information on this sheet. So your survey question could be, what is your favorite pizza topping? Or what is your favorite sport to watch on TV? Or what is your favorite kind of book to read? But you have to have 4 choices. And then you're going to survey 25 people, and you're going to write the response. Okay, that is you collecting the data. All right, once you've collected the data, then you are going to fill out a frequency table. So the frequency table will have the choice, and then you'll do tally marks, and then the number, the total number of tally marks, and then you're going to do something called relative frequency. Relative frequency is just when you take the number over the total. So let's say you had 8 people that liked jalapenos on their pizza. So you had 8 over 25, you put that into your calculator, you'll get a percentage, and that is the relative frequency. The reason I want you to have to write the relative frequency is because that is going to help you for your circle graph, because you'll want to divide that pie graph into percentages. So we'll get to that. So you'll put a title. So one thing to know is that titles are not questions. So the title of your graph could be favorite pizza toppings, favorite hobbies, favorite places to visit, favorite kinds of music, or however creative you want to be. But it is not a question. So you'll complete the frequency table, and then you'll continue on with that same title for all of your graphs in this unit. So you're going to have a dot plot, which I discussed in the video. You'll have a pictograph, and your pictograph has to have a key. You will have a bar graph, so you need to make sure that you label your x-axis and your y-axis accordingly. Like your x-axis would be the kinds of pizza toppings that I used as survey questions, and then your y-axis would just be the numbers. And then you will do a circle graph. So that is going to compose part 1. So let me show you a couple examples from a few semesters ago. So this was a face-to-face class, so yours will look different because you can't really turn it in a folder. So here is her recording sheet, and her question was, which of these 4 flavors of gelato is your favorite? And she had 4 different choices: black bear coffee, cookies and cream, salted caramel, and banana Nutella. So what was fun is that she actually worked at a gelato place. So then she had her frequency table, and we're now going to be adding the relative frequency, that percentage. That semester they didn't do a circle graph. And here is our dot plot. And here's her bar graph. So she used different grid paper than I gave her, which is totally fine. One thing it's important to remember with a bar graph, bars do not touch. In a histogram, you'll find out bars touch. And then here's her pictograph. She used stickers. And then you will do a circle graph as well. So here is another one from last semester. So her question was, what is your favorite drink? And she had water, tea, coffee, and soda. Here is her dot plot. Notice that it has the title and everything's labeled accordingly. Her bar graph, again, the bars aren't touching. She's got the types of drinks labeled down at the bottom and the number of drinks along the y-axis. And then here is her pictograph. And so she said 1 drink equaled 2 students. So she had a couple places where she had a half drink because that was 1 student. All right, so this is all based on qualitative data. So that's part 1. Then part 2 is based on quantitative data, numbers. So I'm going to give you the information for this part of the assignment. So I'm going to give you a sheet from a random city that has a nice temperature change from the morning to the evening. So I don't want Houston because there's not a great change in our temperatures. It's still hot in the morning when you wake up. So one semester I used Lake Tahoe, California, because in the morning it was 22 degrees and in the evening it might be 45 degrees or 15 degrees in the morning and 39 degrees in the evening, or the high for the day rather, not the evening. So what you'll do for this part is you are going to make a double line graph, which I'll explain in the video. And let me show you, since here is the double line graph that she made. And your double line graphs will need, one will be for the high temperatures of the day, and the next one will be for the low temperatures. And you'll do them in 2 different colors. So here is her double line graph. Notice that her axes are labeled. And here is her double line graph. This one was for Houston, Texas. So this was in my early spring semester. So our temperatures, I could use it because our temperatures varied a little bit more than they do in the summer. So that's your double line graph. Okay, so it should look something like this. It's not a bar graph, it's a line graph. So it's continuous, moving left to right. Then the next kind of graph you'll do with your temperatures, your minimum and your maximum, is you'll do a stem and leaf plot, something that you'll learn about in the video. These right numbers on the left are called your stems, and these are your leaves. So this is hers. And then my other student, her stem and leaf plot look like this. And then the last kind of graph that you'll do with your highs and low temperatures is you will look at the doing box and whisker plots, the 5-point summary. So again, this is something you'll learn about on the video. So here is one for the minimum temperatures in Houston, one for the maximum temperatures in Houston, and then the other student, this is what her box, sometimes called box and whisker or box plots. Okay, so you're doing a total of 10 graphs. So each graph is worth 10 points. So let me remind you again what the graphs are that you're going to be doing. So with the qualitative data, your survey question, you are going to have your frequency table is considered 1, your dot plot is 2, your bar graph is 3, your pictograph is 4, and your circle graph is 5. Okay, 5 graphs to do with your qualitative, You need to make sure that you have keys if necessary. You've got titles, that you're labeling the x-axis and the y-axis if appropriate. That will all be for your qualitative data. The quantitative data also has 5 graphs. It has 1 double line graph. It has 2 box and whisker plots, 1 for the minimum, 1 for the maximum, and then it has 2 stem and leaf graphs, 1 for the minimum and 1 for the maximum. And that is your graphing project. So try to be creative on your survey question and think outside the box a little bit and just survey your neighbors, put it up on Instagram, put it on Facebook, whatever way that you can get 25 people to answer the question. So you'll also be turning in your survey question and your data collection sheet, basically. So that is your graphing project. I hope you enjoy it. I love graphs. I think they're so fun to do with students in the elementary class. So if you have questions, you know where I am, you know how to reach me, and happy surveying, and hope you have a great afternoon.